So entrepreneurs, insurance agents, business owners, and people that are looking to make the world a better place, one person at a time, get your pen and piece of paper, write down the notes, rewind it, write it down again. We are on with the great Kim Butler. Kim, how are you?
Very fine, Rob. Always good to talk with you.
Yes, and I'm super excited to be in this conversation with you because, Rob Gill, 2006, 7, when he first started, always heard the name Kim Butler, the name in the business of insurance, amongst many other things. But that's the first step in for me. Your name has always been, especially in the early days when I worked with Guardian and the Jack Halleys and Nick and all those guys. Your name was Scott, Jared. Your name was always brought up all the time. And what's amazing is obviously when we speak insurance, you and I could go deep, of course, but the desire to help people is what it's all about. On top of that, you've created such a marketing model that's incredible. So I'd love to talk about a lot of different things. But first and foremost, I want to thank you for being on the show. See if you have any opening statements, and then just take it back from the beginning to where we are today, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, just my opening statement is always gratitude back to you and really the wonderful world of podcasts, right? Because radio's a bit negative,
Mm,
podcasts are positive.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And let me ask you, where were you originally from? Like, where'd you grow up?
Oregon, so Corvallis, Oregon, where OSU is, the
Mm,
Beavers. And I lived on a farm outside of the city and went to school there up through high school.
okay. Any siblings? Early life? What was that like?
Yeah. So my sister Tammy Brannon, who has her own business called Blueprint Process,
Mm,
she's 3 years younger than I am. My parents were teachers, and our claim to fame as young kids is they bought us milk cows.
and you learned how to milk the cows, right?
These hands right here, like by hand, we milked cows from fourth grade to about seventh grade.
Got it.
And then we finally got a machine. We sold the milk. I put myself through college with all of the money. It was
Wow.
an unbelievable entrepreneurial childhood.
That's great. And did you so from day one, you learned the parents 9 to 5, school teachers helping people educate people, make the world a better place, and on top of that, you learned the magic of um, entrepreneurship.
Yes. And the amazing things that money can do.
Tell
Because,
me, tell us about that, please.
right,
At
as
that
a
age,
junior high kid, I had quadruple the amount of money that my friends had. And I lived in the boonies. So I never
mm.
got to spend it.
And did you ever find yourself wanting to spend it, and you were taught not to? Did you get? I won't use the word addicted, but did you get excited about saving more and building up that mountain? Like, what was that like for you?
I really did get excited about savings. And that is a little embarrassing to admit because talk about a geek as a kid. And I wasn't. In fact, I was homecoming queen. So I did a
Were
few
you?
things right.
Wow, congrats.
But
Tremendous.
all through high school, I paid for my clothes. My parents taught me that if I wanted something, all I had to do was earn the money to get it. And I remember my grandpa giving me money for birthdays. I
Mm,
would put it in the savings account for a horse.
mm.
I never got a horse, but I was really into buying a horse.
And you had to save the money for it. And back then, you probably got a better interest rate on your savings too. So that's all. Thank you for sharing. And this happened through high school. The machine came. Well, by the way, when the machine came in, what was your entrepreneurship like in high school?
So when the milking machine, you mean?
Yeah, because you did that from fourth to seventh grade with hands, right?
Yes, yes. So the machine just allowed the whole operation to happen a little faster. It really didn't change it much.
Okay.
I suppose there's some learning there that occurred around automation or something, but
Mm,
nevertheless, it really was all through high school selling the milk, and then fast forward, so 4 years of college with an English degree, which
mm.
is I think why I like to write books so much.
How many books for the audience?
10.
I was gonna say 8. All right. Awesome.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And a new one coming out in 2024. And we've already got
Mm.
the one for 2025 in the works. So, yes,
Wow.
lots of gratitude there for a lot of help. It takes a community to get a book out,
It
believe me.
does. I do. I do. I'm working on my first. Yeah.
I love it. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, anyway, the next step that I think is relevant for people is right out of college, I realized that there wasn't anything to do with my English degree that helped anybody at anything. This is all pre internet. And so I started working at a bank. And
Mm,
I spent my first 3 years in a fairly large regional bank, talk about getting a money education because I
mm,
saw all these people with all these different financial situations. And I got really good exposure. I got the trust department for investments, I got the loan department for cars and mortgages, and then I got the cash side of the bank for savings accounts. And that was all before banks had investments, but it was a great education.
I love that. And did you learn about insurance during that time,
I did not,
okay, all right.
other than the fact that the New York Life guys were upstairs in the bank building.
Wow.
And I have a fun story when the time's right about
Yep.
my first meeting with an insurance agent.
Okay. Well, we can't wait to hear about that. So you're working at the bank for 3 years. You really know how to save money, and I'm sure at the bank you see people that didn't know how to save money and or that did know how to save money, and maybe you could build common characteristics of each one in your own mind at that point and come up with your own algorithm when it came to that. But I'm sure that helped serve you when you met clients face to face going forward when you got in the game. So what was it like for you after the bank, in your mid to late 20s?
Yeah, so you do have the time frame right. I got to tell the story. So the insurance agent comes over to my house. I'm at the end of my banking time, but I don't know that yet.
Are you married? Do you have kids yet? Are you
I
okay?
am married, no
Yep.
children
Got it.
yet. So he says, "Are you concerned about becoming disabled?" I said, "No." He said, "Are you concerned about saving for retirement?" I said, "No." He said, "Are you concerned if you die yesterday?" I said, "No." He said, "I don't think I can help you." And he left.
Mm.
Very smart on his part, right?
Yeah.
So,
Unless he learned the better way to help you, but go ahead. I'm following.
well, yeah, I mean, I didn't think anything else of it.
Yeah.
6 months, 12 months later, I don't remember. I realized that I have grown as much as I'm going to grow at the bank and I need to figure out my next step. And I really wanted to help people with their finances because, as you stated, I saw everything.
Now it became a burning desire, it sounds like. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 24 years old. I have blonde hair. I interview all over Scottsdale and Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
And what do I get offered but secretarial jobs?
Hmm.
And I was very clear that that is not where I was headed. And so there was one little agency of a particular insurance company. I didn't even really understand the difference between insurance and stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Again, this is all pre internet.
Yep.
But this one little agency says that they will hire me as an agent. Well,
Okay.
I was in. That's where I was headed.
Were they independent or
Yeah.
was it actually a mothership and you don't want to mention the company?
Well, it was a well said. It was connected with a life insurance company. Doesn't really
Gotcha.
matter who.
Understood. Yep. Understood.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tracking. All right. So awesome. And you now stepped in and learned, let me go sell life insurance to my family and friends.
Basically. Yep. Yep.
And
And
did you fall in love?
well, no. What I
Okay.
did fall in love with, though, is the holistic approach to
Now,
be
was
able to,
that taught? Hold on, let me stop you now because was that taught at this first place, or did you learn that as time went on, like I did?
a little bit of both.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
So the holistic approach that was taught at this place definitely had life insurance and let's just call it mutual funds
Yep.
together in an environment with, let's call it a financial plan, right?
Term and invest the difference.
Well, it wasn't by term and invest the difference. They definitely had whole life and universal life. I
Yep.
did not understand the difference between the two.
Yep.
I wouldn't even say at that point that I understood the difference between that and term insurance, but nevertheless, it was a holistic approach, and literally computers were brand new also.
Mm.
So this ability to create a financial plan was super cool.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did for 5 years. I had a great start. I loved it. I worked my tail off. I still didn't have kids. I put in, probably pretty normal for a new agent, 80, 90-hour weeks, loved every minute of it and learned a ton until I hit a brick wall.
But hold on, during that 5 years, how were you able to acquire clients and build relationships? What was the model?
I had 300 bank clients whose
Wow.
names and contact information I had with permission from the bank.
Amazing. So that was a
Yeah.
great launching pad. Got it.
Yeah.
And did you do really well with those clients and client meetings and yeah? So you
Yeah.
you hit the ground running. Got it.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
then you hit the brick wall because the clients ran out.
Nope.
Okay, tell me.
I hit the brick wall because I kept handing people these financial plans,
Mm,
beautifully printed papers, color graphs, totally accurate mathematically,
yep.
and 100% disconnected from their lives.
Mm. The right hand didn't speak to the left hand.
That was a big bummer. And it wasn't an overnight realization. It's just over time, I kept realizing this document that I'm giving you called a financial plan. And by the way, I had quite a few designations after
Yep.
my name at that point.
Yep. Yep.
But this document that I'm giving you has absolutely nothing to do with your life beyond about one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. So what did you do?
I went and interviewed all my former wealthier bank clients,
Okay.
many
Love it.
of whom I had stayed in touch. Some of them were insurance clients, some of them weren't. It didn't matter. I was a good community member. I knew these people. A lot of them were wealthier entrepreneurs. And I asked them, did you do financial planning? I asked them, do you max out your 401ks? I asked them, do you buy whole life insurance? And I had started to learn the difference between whole life and universal and term insurance at that point, obviously.
Yep.
Nevertheless, we both know that whole life and universal is a confusing thing to learn the difference between.
Absolutely. Yep.
But I got a lot of clarity from that group of entrepreneurs. And the bottom line of their message was no, I didn't do a financial plan. No, I didn't max out my 401k. And yes, I like whole life insurance.
Mm. Amazing. So you gave the piece of paper, but then there was no execution on it.
Correct.
Yeah. And did you have a 65 or a 7 at any point when you had those
I had everything.
Okay. So now you know. All right. So you learned. Great. I wonder how many people would have even done that interview process. But once you realize that if the right hand and the left hand speak and you follow through on the integration and coordination of inside and outside of the box, right? Inside of the box would be the wealth management side, outside of the box would be the insurance side. I'm sure things began to escalate and elevate
They
as you
did.
ruminated and cogitated. You like my rhymes?
Yes, good. All good words. All good words. And again, nothing was overnight. Nothing massive ever happens overnight. I don't
Yep.
think it's just little baby steps. It's habitual things. And oh my gosh, let's please get in there. The mistakes that I made. I mean, there's a litany of mistakes that I made along the way, some of which we'll talk about as we progress, because it's so important that people understand that through all that apparent success, there were failures also.
Beautiful failures that lead to more elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me through. So now you interview the clients. What happens next?
So I made some changes in the companies that I was working with, the agency that I was in, all largely relative information. And I figured out very clearly that I wanted to work with a thought process that I now call prosperity economics
Okay.
that came from a more holistic. So I would say, I started with what I thought was holistic,
Yep.
but now I'm broadening that out even more thoroughly. And I really developed at this point, I think I'm in my early 30s, maybe. I really developed a cadence and a very entrepreneurial approach to the work that I was doing. And then got super, super solid on the difference between whole life and universal life, was still mixing in term. I learned the concept of human life value, and I just started to really perform in a very consistent, business-like way whereby it was repetitive and doable, and I was helping a lot of people.
So, quick question: were you able? The first question: replace yourself to take on the leads that were coming on, and was part of your planning to connect the accountant with the fiduciary and the trust officer and the insurance agent? I'm
So
curious for myself.
sure, sure. Without a doubt, I became clear that holistic approach does need to involve a whole bunch of other professionals.
Yep.
And there were times when I did a great job of that, other times that I did. And frankly, right now, I think I'm probably doing a horrible job of that because it's a heavy lift, as you know, to try to get all those kinds of professionals on the same page. Nevertheless, you can't be doing holistic work without at least some of that happening. So I believe that that has some ideal environments that don't actually happen. And I will love the day when somehow, some way, somebody comes up with a better way to mix in all those professionals and see a client holistically for what they truly are.
Amazing. Yeah. So, what year was your first book?
99-ish, I'm going to say.
Now, for the entrepreneurs slash insurance agents, did that elevate your business the second it got out there? And how did you reach other audiences?
Well, the answer to the first question is heck no. So this is before Amazon.
Okay.
And the book was really written by me more as an owner's manual for my clients.
Okay. Fair enough. A nice map, a good map.
Oh my gosh, super helpful, right? Because all of us that have clients that we care about, we tend to have more people than we can actually continue to stay in touch with.
Yeah.
And again, this is all, the internet's just starting right now.
Yep.
Nevertheless, it was very, very important to me that my clients remembered some of the language that insurance has around it, right? The word premium as it relates to whole life, very confusing term.
That's right.
What's a paid up edition? You know, how do I utilize my death benefit while I'm living? Those types of things. So this is my Live Your Life Insurance book, which you're well aware of.
Yeah.
Tiny little book, 100 some pages, can read it in an hour and a half or what have you.
Love it.
And I really just wanted it as an owner's manual for my clients. There's actually since then been a second version created that has a little bit of an introduction, more for the new person. And I will say that right about that same time, I was introduced to Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. And so that definitely helped get my material out there in a faster way. Again, this is pre-internet than I could have ever done in any other fashion.
So one of the things you just said, which I think is amazing, it was an owner's manual for your clients. I love that. That's even adding more value. But then we believe in something that my partner Sean Callaghy taught me. It's called ecosystem merger, right? And you have an audience and someone else has an audience, and how do you share those audiences? How did you land the meeting with the Kiyosakis? And was it intentional for them to share your information to their audience?
So this was before Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book, came out. So they were referred to me just like any other real estate investor in that area. And I in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. And I did have a lot of clients in the real estate space. So they were just a couple of people. Now, I think Robert and Sharon Lechter were already working on the book at that time.
Got it.
The cash flow game was like brand new, if even out. I can't remember exactly. And so what happened that was unique is that Robert and Kim immediately got the difference of how I looked at people's finances from that holistic prosperity economics approach.
Yeah.
Whereas every other client or prospect that I met with, I had to do quite a bit of convincing as to why my approach was better. In other words, why not max out your 401k? Why not prepay your mortgage? Those types of things.
Sure.
Robert and Kim were just like right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then when Rich Dad Poor Dad came out, I was as impressed with them because they got my approach so quickly.
Yeah.
as they were with me because my approach aligned with how they thought.
Amazing. And did they put you on their stage? Did they refer people to you? Like, was there a strategy there that you guys put
Yes,
together on design, or just by organic? Here, you got to reach out to Kim.
all organic. So Robert was traveling. Now, I had had my first child, and my second one is a year and 8 days later.
Okay. I got that too.
So I was not going to be traveling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did have an opportunity. Dolph DeRoos, Diane Kennedy, Boy Our
Dolph. That's my
Singer.
man.
Yeah.
Dolph is my man.
Yeah. Yeah. All of those guys were, and Sharon, of course, well, Diane, a gal, obviously, guys in quotes. All of that group was there at the beginning. And, we were all trying to figure out what way was up and which direction we were going. Nevertheless, Robert did refer people. So
Now, was this in the early 2000s?
yeah.
Give me the time frame. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Right. 99, 2000, 2001, all in there.
Got it.
Robert would speak from the stage and say, if you're looking for financial advice, contact Kim Butler.
Got it. That still happens to this day, by the way. That same model.
I'm grateful for that.
With Tony Robbins, it happens with Chris Cronin. That is still an existing model.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I'm just saying, when you speak from the stage, there's an authority, and then if you have proximity and a partnership, go ahead. That was on me. Never mind. I was cutting you off. Go ahead.
Oh, please. I mean, it's so well said because, as you stated, that enables me to help people very quickly.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, how long did that run last with Kiyosaki?
Like you said, it's still happening
It still
today.
goes. Okay, great. Are you in any of his books where, hey, you can reach out to Kim?
Yes. Choose to be Rich is a program that they did that was a little bit more audio oriented. And then I think I mentioned in Rich Dad's Guide to Investing.
Love it. Tremendous. Okay, so what happens? So now, by the time I came on the scene, you were already a legend, which is 2006, 7, 8. Tell me what's going on in your world at that point.
So I'm just helping people the best way that I know how. The internet has started to come into play. The precursor to Zoom exists. So
no. What was it?
Placeware.
I had another one. GoToMeeting.
Placeware was before GoToMeeting.
Yeah, GoToMeeting. When I first started selling insurance, because I owned a branch office of my own broker dealer, so people would open up on stocks first, and then I would come in and do I call them the wealth creation meeting. It was all, in New Jersey, I'd have a meeting in Chicago at 10 a.m., a meeting with a farmer in Nebraska at 1 p.m. I mean, like, I was doing that in 08, 09, and 10 during my Guardian years, and which is when I heard about you.
Well, I think part of the reason that I was well known in that community is that because of a lot of the connections that I had to figure out the virtual space quickly, and I had to make it work.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't easy.
No, my gosh. And so literally from, I want to say 2002, maybe onward, I have done the bulk. And now for years and years and years, it's been 100% of my work is virtual.
Amazing. So I think for people listening right now, insurance agents are learning stuff, but let's talk about the entrepreneur outside of our business, because I think your innovation and your ability to replace yourself and then replicate is amazing. Can you talk about all this stuff, not from a planning of financial planning for folks, but which is inside we'll call that working in the business, but the on the business magic that you create? I think that's a really cool story to tell.
Well, I have been a Dan Sullivan strategic coach participant for close to 30 years.
Wow.
Implement as much as I can out of that program, which is probably 20%.
Yep, I get it. Yep.
That's been invaluable in the building of teams. I also subscribe to the Kolbe profile, Kolbe.
Amazing.
Best $55 anybody can spend. It's the best business tool. It's the best marriage tool. It's the best everything tool out there. So valuable that has helped me.
How do you use it though?
Well, I really encourage people to get it and read their Kolbe material that comes, video, listen, watch, whatever, and then install it in their hearts and then act on it. So in teams, like in my day-to-day work, Colby and strategic coach both enable us to really identify a person's, Dan Sullivan uses the word unique ability.
Mm,
And so it's the skill and the talent that somebody brings to the table that's just a part of them all the time. So literally with every team member meeting that I have, our team's around 10 or so, I'm always conscious of their Colby. Their Colby profile identifies how they get results.
yep.
And I'm adjusting what is being worked on by who because of their Colby information. We also use strengths finders as well. I think both are helpful together. And then on the marriage side, I mean, it's just super, super helpful because, like my husband, Todd Langford, likes to say,
I met Todd.
Opposites attract until it gets annoying. And just for fun, for people that know Colby, my Colby profile is 4492.
Yep.
My husband's is 6338.
Yep.
And so we couldn't be further apart.
Got it.
And our marriage works largely because of our knowledge of our Colby profiles.
Got it. Understood. And how to communicate with each other is basically is what I'm hearing
Yeah.
you say. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I think about my time, 2008 till today, your last 15 years has been, obviously if you were doing before go to meetings when COVID hit, that was easy for you, right?
Correct.
As it was for me. What has been the last 10 years look like for you and how your business accelerates? Like where do you, if you're talking to agents right now or entrepreneurs, like where's their blueprint? Like what do they got to do to start getting off the ground and be able to measure their results?
I love that question. So, regardless of what business you're in, so as you said, this applies to entrepreneurs across the board,
Mm-hmm.
the development of a team is paramount. I also believe very, very strongly that continuing to narrow your focus is very, very valuable. I know I made a lot of progress when I stopped paying attention to the noise that was out in the marketplace about fill in the blank, whatever it is. So I've narrowed in my focus work wise because now all I do is help people with life insurance, whole life insurance and term insurance.
Yep.
I used to help with investments and a whole bunch of other things. There's a litany of mistakes that I've made in this area that just caused distractions and heartache and problems and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized over time, and you asked this 10 minutes ago, my true love is that life insurance space, that guaranteed space, that certainty space.
Predictability.
Yep. And I think for business owners, we so want to help people and we so want results that we are extremely distractible. And that's to our detriment.
Yep.
So to the degree that people can narrow, and the more experience that I've had on this earth, the more narrow and focused I've become. Yep. Even though as a 4492 Colby, I mean, my eyes are always on the lookout for new opportunities, new people, new things that I can do, new things to try. But I very, very much have learned that I cannot do that to my team.
Yep.
So having my team be super focused, having my team run on EOS and traction as an example.
Yep.
Thank you, Gino Wickman, for writing that book and connecting with Dan Sullivan around it in a way that strategic coach and traction can really work together. And then
did you create that innovation or did they do that together?
No, that's a whole strategic coach community.
Okay.
Space.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, for sure. So that plus the humility that is necessary to let the team shine.
Yeah.
First of all, I think we get better results as human beings when we can be humble.
Agreed.
Not easy in this business, as you know.
Yep. Agreed.
Not easy really for any business owner because any business owner or entrepreneur or salesperson has to have some self-confidence.
Yep.
But the quicker that we can learn to keep that in the background and keep our clients and our prospects in the foreground, the
Yep.
better results we can get.
Yep.
And then again, narrowing the focus and being an expert, a genius, really. I think if you use, the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing,
Love it.
in a narrow niche, the better results that we can get, and the more people we can help.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Amazing, Kim. Thank you so much. Is there anything I've missed so far?
We own alpacas.
What is that?
You don't know what an alpaca is?
I do not know what an alpaca is.
This is an alpaca.
Oh, how many?
We have 16 of them.
Wow.
So I live in Mount Enterprise, Texas, which is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And please do not tell my dad, who's still living, and this is an absolute strong message that I want to convey, in his mid-80s is still working. Amazing.
It's right? Not work. Like, it's love. It's not work. It's
absolutely. Plus, Todd Langford tells me if you do the math, 87 is the new 65.
Really?
Yes.
Love hearing that.
Yes.
I'm in my early 50s. So I got a while to go.
30 years to go, my friend.
Yeah.
So these soft little guys are my replacement for cows.
Love it.
As I said, don't tell my dad that I thoroughly enjoy living on a farm. So appreciate my childhood and all the miserable hours of work that we did on that farm.
I love it. Thank you. And you know what I always love to ask, where do you, because, listen, I think your impact not only within the industry has been incredible, but, we could talk about the impact on women. I'm going to say women and men. We could talk about impact on entrepreneurs. We could talk about impact on families and creating hundreds of years of wealth because of what you're doing. Can you tell the audience of where you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years and what it looks like and why you're doing what you do?
Oh, absolutely. So we are going to continue on the pace of a book a year, every other year, no magic to the 12 months.
Yep.
We're going to continue on the pace of podcasting. I have over 500 episodes.
Amazing.
And it is such a valuable tool to get our thinking out there. We're going to continue on the pace of blog posts and YouTube videos and that type of thing as well. We're trying to get better and better in that space every day.
Yep. Yep.
Learning and growing is paramount.
It is.
I have absolutely no interest in retirement or anything that even looks like it. Yet I take massive amounts for me of free days, right? Everybody has to figure out what their own cadence is of free days.
Yeah.
And actually, I probably took more 10 years ago when my kids were younger. All of my children are grown and out of the house, own life insurance, and are with their jobs and doing amazing things.
I love it. You're so proud. I can see it.
That's amazing. Gosh. Yes, yeah. Yes. And so I want to continue to help Todd Langford with his Truth Concepts work. Yep. I will continue Prosperity Thinkers, my current company right now, actually just rebranded a couple years ago for the next 30 years.
Amazing. Love it.
I'm in my mid-50s and absolutely believe that 87 is the new 65. And I don't really even care much about 87.
Yes, because when we're at 87, it's going to be the new 70 or whatever. But
Correct.
Let me ask you this quick question. All these folks, how could, seriously, if somebody wants to be privately coached, if somebody wants to, and listen, folks, Epic has it's a one-stop shop financial planning wellness center, but you may not like my cadence and you may like to hear what Kim has to say. Kim, how can anyone get in touch with you?
Well, thank you for that. And Rob, I agree with you 100%. This is the beauty of what you and I do. There are so many people that need our help. We're not competitors. You and I are collaborators at the heart of it.
Yes, we are.
So prosperitythinkers.com. If you are interested in me helping you with life insurance in any form.
Yeah.
If you are interested as an agent, if you're an agent, a financial advisor, whatever term works for you, then it's prosperityeconomicsadvisors.com.
Okay. So everybody, you want to say it one more time, Kim, so everybody can have it if they want to write it down?
And I'll email it to you so that you can have it in the show notes. It's
Yep. Okay, sorry.
Prosperity.
Yep.
Economics plural, right? Economics, we have to think big, big, big. So everything's plural.
Yeah.
Advisors, ORS
Yeah.
.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being part of the show. I'm super grateful. I'll make sure the team gets a copy of this to you. And I'll, hopefully chop up some good 30, 60-second clips that we can work out. And super grateful to spend this time with you. Am a fan. I am a fan. First, replicate as much as I can. And just being in your presence is always a gift. I enjoyed the time I spent out with you in the Colorado region and through our friend Caleb. And anyways, thank you so much for being on here today. And I'm super grateful. And I
You're
hope you have
welcome,
an
Rob.
awesome 2024.
Thank you.